People often ask me how I got into kirtan, and what I want to share is initially I was a professional saxophonist. I had a deep love of music. As a child, I had a Beatles club with one of my friends when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. And I happened to go to a high school in a town in Connecticut that had literally one of the best jazz programs in the country. And we played at festivals, we made albums. Every 2 years, we did a 3-week European tour. I had such incredible experiences through this program that I decided as I went to college, I wanted to continue on with music. So I studied saxophone at the Eastman School of Music. And during that time, as a teenager, I started playing professionally. One of my first professional jobs was in a summer band at Disney in Florida. And after that, I started working on cruise ships. Eventually moved to Boston, studied with a very well-known saxophone teacher named Jerry Bergonzi, and then I went on the road with an amazing singer who sang like Aretha Franklin, and we played colleges, clubs, and cruise ships. At a certain point, I decided I'd had enough of music, I'd had enough of that lifestyle. I really wanted nothing to do with it, and for about 6 years, I was out of music, working in politics, higher education, having some small businesses. And in 2000, I took my very first yoga class, and this teacher chanted beautifully. And I loved it. I fell in love with the practice. I thought, this is the essence of music that I love so much. And for 5 years, I just sang and drummed and played in her band. And I didn't realize how much I was picking up and learning by being next to her. In 2005, I had moved away, and I really missed kirtan so much. So I thought, I wonder if I could lead. And so I started leading, and I fell in love with it. And people in my community really demanded that I lead. I was somewhat of a reluctant person. I was a little reluctant to step into this, but in 2006, I found that kirtan was really taking over my life. Along the way, I had access to many amazing teachers and teachings, both in the domain of Indian spirituality and also leadership development and coaching. And I released my first album in 2009, went out on the road, started touring and playing festivals. In 2010, I launched the Kirtan Leader Institute because I saw that there was actually a gap, that when folks were in the position that I was of wanting to learn, there was nowhere for them to go. There was no ongoing coaching, there was no structure, there was no trainings. So literally on January 1st, 2010, I launched the first program with the Kirtan Leader Institute. And boy, did I learn a ton. Later that year, I relaunched with a completely different program, and I learned a ton from that. And by 2011 and 2012, I'd really kind of honed things in. At this point, I'd released my second album. I started generating more students. I started figuring out the teachings and the different training programs. So at this point, I live in Boulder, Colorado. I'm now just releasing my fourth album. And I have an amazing band called the Shakti Groove, and we've been touring, playing at festivals, and teaching. Along the way, I want to say that I studied deeply in a Hindu spiritual tradition with a guru named Sri Kaleshwar, and studied from one of his senior Western students, and had a lot of training in mantra practice and tantra, and studying Lalita and also Dattatreya. Both of these deities are integral, and they integrate everything. And this really appealed to me because my background as a coach is through integral. I'm certified as an integral coach and a somatic coach, and also work with the Enneagram. So there's something here about bringing kirtan together in a way that supports the transformation and the development of adults while integrating this amazing, exquisite spiritual practice, and also becoming more whole and being able to integrate and say yes to more of ourselves, of our relationships in the world. This is what I'm up to, and this is what I invite you into at the Kirtan Leader Institute.